Okay, we are we are live, I think. Just give me a few minutes, getting comfortable. Gotta do some stuff quickly, and we will be talking about the recent move that is Chainlink. Okay, it's a pretty impressive move, and I'd like to talk about it. Same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum's doing something pretty impressive right now. Um, which we'll get into it in a second. I think I want to start off this live stream with Chainlink, because I've been pretty vocal about Chainlink for the past couple of weeks or so. Um, and yeah. Anyway, so it's Monday. Okay, it's Monday. I don't usually do live streams on Monday. Feels like Sunday actually, but it is a holiday where I am, and so I am off work. And because of that, I have nothing else better to do but look at but look at the cryptocurrency market. XRP, yeah, we'll talk about XRP too. I think it's up yeah, it's up 3.5%. We'll get to that in a second. We'll get to all those things in a few moments. I just have to do something very quick. Um I mean, the markets are always going to be there. It's not going to run away if we just take a few minutes. Um, and also, I think it's, important to just take it easy, especially in times like these, um, with the markets kind of going bonkers right now. So actually, I guess we could take a look at XRP. Why not? I don't. Doesn't really matter to me. We'll get to all of them in a few minutes. So XRP is rallying 3.5%, not as much as other cryptocurrencies, which is what I'd like to highlight. With XRP, still currently in the buy range, right? We've been in the buy range for weeks, ever since June 14th, and from the period of December 21st, week of December 21st to April 5th, we've been in the buy region. So we haven't yet made the move that we're all hoping that XRP will make in the near future. At least I think it's not moving quite quick enough. So this is kind of what I'm sitting on with XRP. XRP is kind of just sitting in my portfolio. I'm not buying anymore. I'm not selling it at the moment. Actually, I did sell like my portfolio a bit because I need a new car. So because I wanted to, like, I need to buy a new car. I didn't want to sell just one cryptocurrency, so essentially I just took the price of the car and sold whatever percentage amount for each coin relative to my portfolio. So everything went down a little bit, including XRP. So with XRP, you can argue that this might be a second opportunity for anyone who might have missed the boat, I guess you could say. I don't know what boat you're missing right now, but this would have been the best time to buy XRP right here. From the period of December to April, this was the best time to buy XRP with your Bitcoin, historically speaking. With that said, we're still waiting. We're above that level, but we're still in the buy range, so to speak. And so this might be someone's second chance at redemption if you really like XRP. The idea is that we're waiting, we're trying to time these moves right here, like what we saw last cycle. Now we can go back and talk what constitutes that cycle, like what causes that to happen. One theory is that Bitcoin needs to be above the 20-week moving average, which that is not the case right now. The other one is that uh, Bitcoin needs to be above the 20-week moving average and is able to sustain it. So if we look here and I got Bitcoin here, and we'll stack XRP BTC from Poloniex, and you'll get what I'm talking about, where you see that Bitcoin or Bitcoin was above the 20-week moving average. We made a support test of the 20-week moving average before we had these amazing run-ups. This, I would say, the second one, the second rally that we see here is something that we would constitute as the market cycle peak of Bitcoin. So the first rally we have yet to see. We have yet to see that first rally on the scale of this. So we're still waiting for it. At the moment, because Bitcoin's below the 20-week moving average, it seems very unlikely that XRP would make such a move at this moment. Currently, XRP is trading at 74, 75 cents. It's not even at the prior all-time high for XRP of the last cycle in comparison to many other altcoins that have been moving up that high that quickly. So like as an example, Ethereum is well above its prior all-time high. Chainlink is well above its prior all-time high. Uniswap we don't talk about because it wasn't there last cycle. Basic attention token is also above it, has been above its prior all-time high. Litecoin touched it. It barely went above. Cardano is a great example of an altcoin that has surpassed its prior all-time high with gusto. Having said that, I still hold my XRP. I do believe at some point within the cycle that XRP will make that move. We just don't know when, and we don't know how long really is it going to take. And that is the risk that you're essentially running. Because I mean, the move that we're waiting for is an extremely impressive move, right? The last time it did this, it went over five, like from bottom to wick, it was like 6,400% move. Okay, or actually 4,600. I just had a little below the price. It's a pretty big move, and so this is great to see. This is what we all want to be a part of, but you also run the risk of waiting too long. If you wait too long, then you miss out on potentially other less riskier assets, altcoins, and their gains while waiting for this move, right? And that is why XRP right now is only you know maybe 4 or 5% of my portfolio at the moment. Okay, with that said, we'll move on to the shining beacon of today on Monday, which is Chainlink. Chainlink against his Bitcoin valuation has been fairly impressive. I've been very vocal about this. It's up 27% in the last week and a bit, including last week close and this opening week. This is what I'm talking about. I've been very, very vocal about Chainlink. I've been very vocal that Chainlink will outpace Bitcoin during this period of Bitcoin being below the 20-week moving average. What was the line in the sand, or what was the line that we're talking about, the level? And we're talking about essentially 56,600 satoshis. We are now above that. So currently at the moment, Chainlink has now begun to outpace Bitcoin during this period. It is now above. It's not going to be worth as much as Bitcoin is what I'm trying to say. It's not. But what I'm talking about is that Bitcoin is now being outpaced by Chainlink. We talked about this many times, okay? And I will keep on talking about it. So let's look here. So the last time we've seen something like this was the last cycle. So it was the bear market for Bitcoin. So I'll get rid of the 50-week. So this blue line is representing the 20-week, right? We see the ultimate break of the 20-week moving average, which constituted at about a 5,300 Satoshi level. And we extend all this all the way to to March 18th of 2019, the week of March 18th, and we measure it. Where was the close for that day or that week? And we see that Chainlink has outpaced Bitcoin during this period of Bitcoin being below the 20-week moving average. Now, you can see that there were periods where Chainlink went below this level, right? This area right here is a great example of that. So what I'd like to clarify is that not from the point that we measure to the point where we begin, it's going to be a slow grind up, right? It's not going to be like that. You'll see these dips, and if you sold here, for example, then yeah, you would have sold below the level of a potential better of a better Bitcoin valuation for your Chainlink. So now we see that later on, and it took a very long time. It wasn't until roughly the week of October 15th where we saw the rise of Chainlink's valuation against Bitcoin. And so that's what essentially I am talking about in the perspective of us now, right? So this would essentially be the same kind of move we're talking about while we're waiting for Bitcoin to come back above the 20-week moving average. During this time, Chainlink will begin to outpace Bitcoin. How much that percentage is going to be, I can't tell you that. It could be 100%, could be more, could be less, but um, these are the kinds of plays that you want to be looking at while Bitcoin's, being kind of bearish at the moment. And that's what, as much as Bitcoin has rallied the past 12, 13 days, um, we're still below the 20-week moving average. Technically, things are still bearish. And looking for plays like Chainlink is a smart play in terms of hedging your risk against other altcoins and against Bitcoin. Anyway, that's pretty much that for Chainlink. I mean, Chainlink's doing amazing. Thing about Chainlink is the 50-week moving average against the US dollar for Chainlink. So currently, we talked about this last week, right? We talked about this on Saturday, I believe. Saturday, yeah. We talked about how if we're able to close above the 50-week moving average, this is also extremely bullish, right? Extremely bullish, and lo and behold, we did. That week close was $21.28 for the 50-week moving average, and we closed at $22, right? So this is the key thing, and we have one point of reference that we can refer to when looking at the breakout of the 50-week moving average, and that was during the month of April 2020. We briefly went below it, and then we came back up, and measuring from the 50-week moving average to the peak, it was a 711% move to the upside. So in this case, this is pretty impressive. Not that I'm saying that Chainlink is gonna do this, but rest assured that I'm confident that that's a pretty impressive rally is on the cards for Chainlink. Whether that's going to be now, later, maybe we have to wait until Bitcoin actually gets above the 20-week moving average in order for the full rally to start. But my argument stands that the rally is starting now. It can ramp up, and we can reach full velocity when Bitcoin actually breaks the 20-week moving average, right? Because like when we look at the Bitcoin valuation for Chainlink, right? We measured this, right, and it was 107% move up, but then it continued on, right? So my argument being is that that the rally may start while Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average, but I'm pretty confident to say that the major rally, the big one, is going to come when Bitcoin finally breaks the 20-week moving average. So if you can play this a number of ways. You can wait until a confirmation from Bitcoin of breaking the 20-week moving average and holding it as support, and then you can start buying your position in Chainlink. Or you could be like me, and potentially other people, I would imagine, where you're essentially front running the rally, right? you're kind of buying the dip. You're essentially buying a falling knife. So keep in mind of that. And you just buy and buy, and then you wait for the move to happen. And we potentially may be seeing that happen right now. The next step for Chainlink. Okay, the next step for Chainlink. Chainlink is broken the 50-week moving average against the US dollar. We held it as support, or sorry, we didn't hold it as support for Bitcoin. But nonetheless, the 20-week moving average is coming, right? We're very, very close to the 20-week moving average for Chainlink. Currently, the Bitcoin valuation would be 62,031 Satoshis. So, in all actuality, we're kind of a sneeze away. We're about 3.5% away against Bitcoin, and against the US dollar, we're essentially, 14 or so percent away. So, pretty close. It's getting pretty close, guys. And this is where it gets exciting. We still have the possibility that that this could be a head and shoulders pattern, right? Potentially. We don't know yet. And I would gather that this is false. I would more so interpret this as a double bottom that we see here. You can, we'll definitely see, right? Like, because my argument being is that the 20-week moving average, in my opinion, is much more important than a head and shoulders pattern. And so, if we're able to break the 20-week moving average, I think the bulls are back. And therefore, I think it would probably continue higher than this level. Obviously, we'll take it into account if it does break the 20-week moving average and then we get rejected somehow from this level, then we can definitely bring it back up and then discuss the possibility of it being a head and shoulders pattern. My argument being is that the 20-week moving average trumps a weekly head and shoulders. And because of that, my bet is that Chainlink will continue to increase in valuation against Bitcoin, break the 20-week moving average, and we'll be off to the races by the time Bitcoin finally breaks its own 20-week moving average. Oh yeah, we can definitely look at Link ETH. Link ETH actually is one thing to keep in mind, um, because Link ETH actually was the one that was continuing to bleed, right? Continuing. Like even when it started moving sideways against Bitcoin, um, Chainlink versus Ethereum continued to bleed, right? And then we see that the 20-week moving average did play as a resistance role with Chainlink. So again, we're talking about the 20-week moving average yet again. We can continue talking about the 20-week moving average against Chainlink because it is a very, very important moving average, in my opinion. So you could see that against the US dollar, against Bitcoin, we're talking about the 20-week moving average. You see that when we talk about Link ETH, we are still talking about the 20-week moving average. And you can see that the 20-week moving average has acted as support for long periods of Chainlink's life. And because of that, we need to have the discussion that although Chainlink is rallying, it still has a major obstacle in its way of the 20-week moving average. Right? If we break all, okay, and this is where I would get super super bullish, is when if we break the 20-week on the US dollar against Bitcoin and against Chainlink Ethereum, then um, Chainlink really is going to be a major player, or a major asset in the space at this time, while Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average. It's going to be quite interesting, and I'll be very very impressed if it does. But that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that it breaks these 20-week moving averages, um, in all three pairs. And if it does, we can really start talking about getting back to the prior all-time high for Chainlink, which is currently at like $54.61. Yeah, Chainlink has been very, very impressive, I must say, man. Uh, Dollar cost averaging is definitely a way to go. It's definitely simple and easy. Just continuing to buy. I hope, although I hope that you do take some profits at some point. You know, whatever your sell price is for Chainlink. All right. So the second thing I want to talk, actually, give me 1 second here. But we're going to talk about Ethereum next. What are your price targets when the link run really gets going? Um, Good question. Basically, um, actually, very good question. Where's my metric? 1 second. So basically, I'm hoping to once we get back above to about maybe 90,000 satoshis, um, I'll keep an eye on what the US dollar valuation is against Chainlink, obviously. But the hope for me is that I'll be selling all of this back into Bitcoin, and then relatively speaking, selling it back into Bitcoin, and then because you could see that Chainlink has these mini bumps, right? If you sell those bumps and then just buy back when it hits the 20-week moving average, it's a very good strategy on increasing your Chainlink position or your Bitcoin position, whichever you prefer. In my opinion, I think Chainlink has maybe $100 to $200 chance of getting to $100 to $200. Um, that would be kind of my, like, if it got to $200, I'd probably be out of the market. Probably when it gets to like 125, 150, I'll start those will probably be my last sells of Chainlink. Like by that time, I would have sold maybe three-quarters of my position. I won't start selling until it gets back above $54, probably. But so between $54 and $150 or $125 is where I'm going to start selling a majority of my position on Chainlink. Whether that's back into Bitcoin or just straight into US dollars like a stable coin is up for debate for me. But moving on to Ethereum. Okay, so Ethereum, I said was in a bearish pattern. Okay, I was wrong. I said that Ethereum has been hitting its head on this resistance for a number of like a number of weeks, and we've been holding this level here. Now, I would have argued that it would break down, right? For a number of reasons. One reason would be that Bitcoin's below the 20-week moving average. Because of that, altcoins will tend to bleed and do worse against Bitcoin. However, yesterday we saw a breakout, and today we see a continuation of that breakout. Ethereum is now trading at 6.4 million satoshis, I believe, and so it's breaking out. How high it's gonna go, I don't know. I like for Ethereum, I'm kind of just staying put. It is my second largest position, but because this kind of caught me off guard, it really did cut me off guard. I'm just gonna let this play out. I already have a position, so if it does break out, I'm happy. It's just that I wasn't anticipating this, and because of that, just holding strong on Ethereum. Um, my guess is that it kind of relates back to my basic attention token video. We saw basic attention token rally like almost 10% the other day, and then it came back down to maybe 4 or 5%. And my theory is that Bitcoin is extremely close to the 20-week moving average, right? And I think at this point, the space is kind of understands the significance of the 20-week moving average, and because of that, I believe you're gonna have people starting to front run the market. It's people who really believe that Bitcoin will break the 20-week moving average sometime soon. And when I mean sometime soon, I mean like this attempt. Like the attempt that we're on right now, people believe that we're going to break it. I'm in the camp that we won't, but I'll keep an open mind if it does. If it does, great. Like that's fantastic. But if it doesn't, then we have to be more patient on this. And the data and history shows that Bitcoin does fail the first time around trying to break above the 20-week moving average. And so with that said, for people who believe we're breaking the 20-week moving average, um, these people are now starting to buy altcoins because they know that if Bitcoin's above the 20-week moving average, is able to hold above the 20-week moving average, altcoins are going to do well. And with that kind of logic, they'll say, well, of course, if Bitcoin is going to break the 20-week moving average, then this is the time I should be buying altcoins. You know, those are, that's acceptable strategy. I can understand it, but the risk is a little too high at the very moment for me. And so because of that, I'm just staying put. I have my Chainlink position. I have been buying Chainlink and I have been buying Tezos. Those are the two altcoins that I have been buying. And Tezos is actually doing, yeah, pretty well. It's up 8%. But obviously, as you can see on the weekly, um, hasn't been doing much. So my theory, and this affects Ethereum, this is affecting all altcoins, is that people are now starting to front run the market, anticipating Bitcoin to break above the 20-week moving average. And my fear is that, one fear that I have is when the majority of people start actually thinking that it's impossible for Bitcoin to come back the other way, and that we will break the 20-week moving average in the near future, that's when it gets scary. That's when people start leverage longing on their positions. It's when people really start taking out loans because they believe because if they truly believe that Bitcoin's breaking the 20-week moving average, then of course you should start buying altcoins now at these prices because it's only going to go up from here. And people can really get themselves in a pickle, especially if Bitcoin decides to come back the other way, right? So my suggestion for myself is that I already have my altcoin positions. I picked and choose which altcoins I wanted to accumulate more of, and they're accumulating interest. Those are the ones that I've added on to, and I'm happy with my portfolio now. All the while, Bitcoin was below the 20-week moving average. A majority of my altcoins I did not touch. Ethereum I did not touch. Uniswap, Basic Attention Token, Litecoin, XRP, uh, Tezos I accumulated, and Chainlink I accumulated, but those are the only two. If anything, I made an effort to increase my Bitcoin position. Chainlink $1,000 by end of year. That's insane. That's insane. I'd love to see it, but that's insane. Um, would I be buying at these prices? Uh, are we talking about Chainlink? Because Justin, you've been mainly talking about Chainlink. I'm assuming that you're talking about Chainlink. Um, okay. If I didn't own any Chainlink, then yes, I will be buying at these prices. If I didn't own any Chainlink, and if I already had a Bitcoin position. So let's say hypothetically, um, Bitcoin, I had a position in Bitcoin, and I'm now looking at altcoins. I didn't have any altcoin positions, and I am looking at Chainlink. What I would be doing then is I would be buying at these prices. I would start buying at $23. Um, I think, in my opinion, anything below the 20-week moving average for Chainlink is a buy. Obviously there's varying degrees of that, right? You can just have a wick. You can have a small period below the 20-week moving average, like what we see here, right? Like what we see here. Or you can have a prolonged period below the 20-week moving average, like this. All in all, you do have the opportunity to buy at these prices, right? And these would be prices where they're like you would have no choice but to buy, right? Um, I think, in my opinion. Um, Sure, you can wait until we test the 20 week or the 21 week. If that's something that if you want to play it that way, that's perfectly fine as well. Um, and I'm assuming like you're talking about the 20 week on Bitcoin. That is also something as well that you can do, but I don't think it doesn't hurt to start buying small positions now and accumulate over time. Cardano, Cardano's kind of bleeding against Ethereum and Bitcoin right now. So Cardano, it was quite amazing against Ethereum because we saw Cardano just hold this valuation um, f- for weeks, and now it's starting to bleed, right? So ever since the July, the second week, third week of July, we started to bleed. Against the U.S. dollar, entirely different story. It's been holding strong at literally $1.30, literally $1.30, a little higher and a little lower. That's basically it. That's all it's been doing, and this becomes especially attractive if you're staking your Cardano, right? If you've been staking your Cardano for this long, props onto you, and it's only good, right? There's nothing bad about that. Um, Again, with Cardano right now, with it bleeding against Ethereum, we'll see how far it goes down. The next target most likely will be this area here, which is the last time that Cardano kind of wicked to against Ethereum. So that would be kind of a target at that level. If it does to get to that level, I'd consider buying, honestly. Cardano has been just so impressive this market cycle, and it's an asset that I don't have in my portfolio, and I haven't been buying it because of the prices. Like they're just too high relative to Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if I had a chance to buy it at say that this level here, then I'd consider it. Against Bitcoin, Cardano is now holding the 20-week moving average. Keep in mind, though, the 20-week moving average is not a moving average uh, that has any kind of significance with Cardano Bitcoin, 88 Bitcoin. It doesn't. It's just I think in this perspective, it just happened to be there. Something else that I wanted to talk about is the Bitcoin dominance chart. So last week we saw Bitcoin dominance shoot up like crazy. It went up to like 48, 49, and then I was talking about potentially getting to the 50% dominance mark soon. But we came back down to earth, and we're now trending down. We're down about 0.64 percentage points on the chart. And so we are still, relatively speaking, walking the mean of this line here, of this trend, right? Which again, within a couple months into September, we can see it kind of lines up with 50% dominance pretty well. And this has been my theory that Bitcoin dominance will continue to rise um, to about maybe 50-55% dominance. And then at that time, Bitcoin should be above the 20-week moving average. It should have held it as support, at which point altcoin season should be on its way, in a couple months, right? Because what I would say is that you should see take the last cycle for example, right? We see this rise, we see an immediate drop, meaning that altcoins did gain dominance for 3 weeks, but then for months, from January to March, we saw no movement with altcoins relative to Bitcoin, right? It was only after 3 months where we saw the initial move down, the insane move down. So keep that in mind. We might see, at 50% dominance, a retracement for, a couple weeks where altcoins really gain dominance. People start talking about altcoins again. People get very excited about it. And then nothing happens. It'll move sideways. Bitcoin will continue to stay above the 20-week moving average. And then at some point, a catalyst happens, and then we see the extreme altcoin season that we've been all waiting for. Or I think it's already happened, but it doesn't mean that we only have one, right? We can have multiple. And at which point we should come back down to maybe at this point, if it does come back, like if we get another alt season, I'll be expecting a Bitcoin dominance of about 36%, like last time, like last time. In fact, it should go even lower in my personal opinion. There's more altcoins in the space. There's more established altcoins in the space. Um, Ergo, there should be more money flowing into altcoins in the not so distant future. What else? I guess VeChain we could talk. I haven't talked about VeChain in a very long time, but you can see why, right? It's just been bleeding. It's been on a 2, 4, 6, 8, going on to its 11th red weekly candle in a row. Okay, and in that time span, VeChain has dropped about 30% against Ethereum. Now, mind you, VeChain is a great project. It has done very well for me. I've made a pretty good return on on VeChain, and so I'm keeping an eye on this very much so, because if it continues to bleed, it'll eventually come back into the buy zone, in which case that is a buy. That is a buy with your Ethereum, and that's where I will be considering beginning my accumulation of VeChain again. At the moment right now, I don't hold any because I sold all of it. If you may or may not know, I had sold along the way up. My last sell was around here. So I didn't get it at the very top, but I would say considering where the price is right now, I've done okay. I think also with VeChain, it held the 50-week moving average, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it did. Okay, so one caveat with VeChain as well is that it held the 50-week moving average as well. So it's coming back up to the 20-week moving average. We'll see how it does. Um, I would expect, in this circumstance, if Ethereum's going to be popping off, which was something of a surprise, to say the least, at least in my view. Um, I would think that VeChain versus Ethereum will continue to bleed. The U.S. dollar might break the 20-week moving average, but in most cases it'll be a slow grind up, in my opinion. Of course, Bitcoin is now trading at 39,708, below $40,000, which isn't the greatest, but what can you do? It's on a three. It kind of topped out at about 40, 42, $43,000, and it's been coming back down. Um, if we do continue our way down, uh, potentially we might see the 20-day moving average come back into relevance again, um, as it has done, a few times along with the 50-day. It could be another. It could be another potential thing where we see a bounce off the 20-day, but we wouldn't necessarily know. If it breaks both, then I think the reality of people thinking that we're breaking the 20-week moving average will quickly disappear, very quickly. Okay. Any other questions? Any other altcoins that I haven't really talked about? Uniswap's kind of holding strong. Uniswap's holding very strong. Holding this entire level here for months. Ever since the start of the year, it's been holding this level. So this is something I've been quite happy about with my Uniswap position. Unfortunately, I had to liquidate a bit of my position. I had to liquidate all my positions. Um, Today, because I have to buy. I'm in the process of buying a car, and because of that, I didn't want to sell just one coin. I just sold the price of the car relative to each coin. Everyone's saying Chainlink for $1,000 by the end of the year. Do you okay? Okay. I'm all for $1,000 Chainlink by the end of the year, but let's do an exercise. Okay, at the current price, it's $23. Okay, the end of the year. Okay, here, let's say. All right, it would have to rally 4,175% in 104 days. Okay, that's this is insane, in my opinion. The price would have to rally an average of $6.35 US every day in order for this to happen. Okay, an average of $6.35 a day, um, for the duration of the rest of the year. Okay, okay, thank God. You guys scare me sometimes, man. A lot of people scare me with these kinds of. Some people are serious. I've heard people that are serious about this. Um, and so because of that, I was like, oh, okay, thank God. Thank you for someone telling me that. Because I would have spent the next 20 minutes telling you how that's unrealistic. And thank you for congratulating for the thousand subs. It's a pretty cool feeling. If it's a meme, why not just say like $100,000? Like one link equals one Bitcoin. I'd like to see that. Like the one Doge is one Doge, but one link is one Bitcoin. I want to see that. Link over link over Bitcoin. Yeah. I feel like all the link marines are in the chat today, which is good. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've been this excited about Chainlink. That's pretty funny, man. I mean, Chainlink is definitely one that I've slept on. And so, unfortunately, I never got to these prices when it was like pennies. But uh I think I started my position at around $20. Like $20 was around when I started my position. And I got it down to maybe 17-ish dollars. Um so I'll definitely see. I mean, yeah, I think Chainlink's probably like, last cycle it was like Ethereum. Ethereum was the child, the golden child of the cycle, because like it did this. I would argue Chainlink has the potential to be that this cycle. Um, I mean, look at it from the all-time high, 30,000% in 3 years from June 18th. Another argument that could be made is Cardano. Cardano could be that golden child altcoin for this cycle, because it's done very well since March 2020. It moved up 13,000%. If I measure, actually, I'm curious now. Chainlink, March 2020, it's prior all-time high. Yeah, 3,892%. SmartCon event? I have no idea. Smart contract event? I don't I haven't really paid attention to the news and events like that. Um, I don't know if anyone cares, but Binance Coin broke its moving averages, which has been pretty which uh was pretty significant, at least with Ethereum. If you look at the last cycle with BNB, it was able to maintain the 20-week moving average for the duration of the cycle, and we have ultimately broke it. Just something to keep in mind. I actually made a video quite a while ago on synthetics because I thought it was interesting. The SNX BTC chart. Yeah. So here we are. So I talked about this kind of range here that we're talking about with synthetics, and we seem to be coming back down. But if it's able to hold this level, then you potentially could have a pretty good bounce, just in time for Bitcoin to be coming back above the 20-week moving average, which I think is important to note. So this could be a move that you guys can consider, as a maybe like a midterm play, not necessarily long term, because I think with synthetics in general has a pretty high inflation rate, which is pretty much the reason why when you look at lending platforms like Celsius that offer like 12, 13%, or Nexo with like a comparable percentage, it's because when you stake synthetics, you get like 22%. And the inflation rate is I think 10%, or it's pretty high. It's pretty high. Um, and because of that, it's a little dodgy. Um, so yeah, that would be my view with synthetics. I think synthetics has an interesting platform of using derivatives because I think derivatives are, very popular, within the cryptocurrency community, and because of that, if you have a platform that's able to have everything kind of collateralized with synthetics, and SUSD, it's pretty dope. Um, but beyond that, it's still kind of shaky. The platform isn't the greatest, um, and we're currently waiting for I would say better UI and a better system built around it. Until then, I mean, you can still use synthetics, and I would consider trading synthetics if it came back down to this level, and then we can see it bounce. And as you can see here, the measure from the prior all-time highs, it's about a 224% move against Bitcoin, which is not too bad considering it's against Bitcoin. Look at that. It's freaking crazy, man. I love to see it. Love to see it with Chainlink. Um, Aave also. No, Aave is also another asset that I am looking at. It's been holding its own 20-week moving average for the past 4 or 5 weeks. It's currently up. It's up like 4% almost. But it is holding its 20-week moving average very well. You can also see that it bounced off its 50-week moving average against Bitcoin. And this is the third time this has happened, so it's pretty good. And so what we can see here is that we're coming to a crossroads with Chainlink. Sorry, not Chainlink, Aave. You can see that there's a trending downward line of resistance for Aave, and then you could see that the 20-week moving average is, looks like it's going sideways, but it is moving up, generally speaking. And so, with that said, it could be bouncing off of these levels, and then we should be coming to a breakout very, very, very soon. 10 million. Oh, great question. Um, it's because I don't really own any. $10 million market cap. Where does that take you? That takes you to about uh, what the number? Takes you to about well, top 20. I mean, I do, to some degree. Um, I talk about basic attention token quite a bit, because it's a position that I do hold, and it's number 80 on CoinMarketCap. I think 86. All right. Uh, oh, sorry, that's a billion. Oh, no, I'm looking at Canadian dollars. I'm so sorry. Um, yeah, it's just that the problem is that it's very risky, right? And I think one thing that I talk about a lot on this channel is about risk. And obviously you can invest in, you know, micro cap coins, if you want to call it that. Um, for me, it's a little it's a little hard to it's a little hard to analyze, because when you're looking at market caps that are like 58 million, for example, um, like I can bring it up here. It's like 58 million market cap, right? Grossel coin. They Do you guys remember this? This was around the last cycle, and it went pretty parabolic. Um, but I think the problem is that, you know, we can look at these, but they don't really. To me, it's very hard to time. It's very hard to time, and I think it's no different than throwing a dart on a wall, or a wet noodle on the wall and seeing if it sticks. It can happen, but I think it's a lot safer to invest in at least the top 50, right? And potentially sub 50, right? So my lowest capped altcoin that I hold is basic attention token. That's the lowest altcoin cap I hold right now. It used to be Celsius. Celsius was like 110 when I bought it. But now it's like where is it? It's like 50 or something. 60? It's 48. So there you go. Yeah, 1,000, that's pretty insane. Um, yeah, even looking at like there's 8,000 coins, almost 9,000 coins in circulation. So, I mean, at least you're not into those assets sub 5,000 rank. But again, like you can make a lot of money. I'm not saying you won't make a lot of money. It's just that it's very risky. It's very risky. I'd rather invest in assets that have good charts, longer term charts that are able to hold. That's pretty much it. Oh, Tezos? Yeah. So Tezos is a very interesting asset. It's one of the most recent additions to my portfolio. It's up 9% today, but as you can see on the weekly that I have up here, it hasn't done much, right? It hasn't done much. My hope is that the theory is that whenever Tezos comes back down to these levels, we see a rally of some sorts, at least to the upper bounds of the chart. Against the US dollar, we see it's currently trading at $3.17. Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like I just had this drawn out because it kind of fit. But I mean, I don't know. You tell me. I don't think it's necessarily dying. I mean, it's definitely one that might have been forgotten. Especially because, Tezos it's not Ethereum, right? And it was slated to be an anti-Ethereum asset. So we'll see how it works. What I'm essentially just hoping for is just a rally up here so I can sell it back into Bitcoin. If we look against the US dollar, this bottom line here has shown to be considerable support for Tezos against the US dollar. We did come below it, but we're now back up to it, right? And so the hope is that we can kind of trend back up and these upper bound lines here kind of like alter from $8.50 to almost to $11 if we rally up into January 2022 next year, right? So these are the things that I'm kind of hoping about for Tezos. Obviously, in my opinion, we will have to wait until Bitcoin gets back above the 20-week moving average to see any kind of movement with Tezos. But yeah, I think with Tezos, your buys should be here. Anything kind of higher, you're losing on the gain potential gains that you can have holding it, right? From here, if you bought from the top of the bottom of the channel, it's about a 200% move up against Tezos against Bitcoin, but from the bottom, we're talking about 361% move. So it's not the greatest of moves, I would say, in comparison to other assets, but it's definitely one that I would be looking forward to. Ethereum's trading at 2637. Still pretty far away from the prior all-time high. Chainlink, same thing. We're at $23. We'd have to rally another 60%, I gather. Oh no, sorry. 124% or so from where we are. So as bullish as I am about Chainlink, we still have a long way to go. and also a major obstacle in front of us at the 20-week moving average, unfortunately. It's unfortunate that so I keep on bringing it up because I'm still kind of salty about it, but I had to sell a pretty good chunk of my, not a big chunk of my portfolio, but a chunk nonetheless on my portfolio because I had to buy a new car. The car that I'm driving is not broken. It's just been having so many problems that I think at this point I need to buy a new car for it, just to save me the headache. But I mean that's money that could be in crypto, earning interest or something, and not in a depreciating asset like a car, which is unfortunate. But I think it's a long time coming. I had my car for maybe 5 years or so, and it's like a 14-year-old car, so I think it's time. I think it's time. Chainlink's trading at $23.56. We're kind of hitting resistance here on the hourly, which is interesting. We'll see how Chainlink fares. Maybe it comes back down. If not, we hope to break this. Yeah, Cardano too. It's been holding up. It's getting banged up by resistance. Safe moon. Do you guys know any of your colleagues that have been buying Safe Moon? I do. I had one. It was very sad. I didn't even talk him out of it. I just said sure when he was telling me about it. Oh, one asset I wanted to look at was Dot, actually. I haven't looked at Dot in a very long time. So it seems like Dot found a bottom. It's found a bottom, which is great. Hopefully it's able to come back up to regular levels. Another one, Matic. So I think the last time I talked about Matic, yeah, was that it can continue to bleed until it kind of hits support somewhere. And my first guess was down to this wick, which kind of happened, right? We held that bottom, and now we're just kind of chilling out here, which is good. I mean, I'm not one to be buying this asset anytime soon. It has rallied a considerable amount to the point where I think I've probably missed the boat on it. Um, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Chainlink isn't doing much. Monero isn't really doing much. Cardano's bleeding. That's all that I really have for altcoins that I mainly look at. Just the important one is Chainlink right now. Celsius is bleeding, which is to be expected. Yeah, so I think I pretty much I've said my piece on this stream. If there are no further questions, I think I'm gonna cut it now. But yeah, I think just to recap, Chainlink was the main story of this stream. We talked about this double bottom pattern here that we are continuing to rally in the hopes of breaking the 20-week moving average against Bitcoin. And this is the same kind of philosophy that we're taking in with the US dollar. We have broken the 50-week moving average against the US dollar. We've held it as support on the daily, and we're now rallying towards the 20-week against Link ETH. Same thing. We have broken all moving averages, and we're just kind of bleeding for the past few months. But the 20-week moving average is our first step in terms of getting back on track with Link. Ethereum was the next thing that I wanted to talk about. We talked about how or I talked about that I anticipated Ethereum to break down from this structure. It has not. It has broken out, and it's continuing the rally, which is something that is not very expected. Against Ethereum, Cardano against Ethereum is now beginning to bleed because of this move. VeChain against Ethereum has already been bleeding, and bleeding more in response to this move. Tezos is doing quite well today, at least. It's up 8%, 9%, but don't don't get too caught up in the daily. As you can see on the weekly, we have essentially been bleeding. But against the US dollar, we've been holding this as support in hopes to rally to the upper bound of the line that we tend to see with Tezos happen throughout its history. Anyway, that's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for getting me to 1,000 subs. And hopefully we can have a live stream where we're celebrating 2,000 subs. But that's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.